One of the tennis students that I have, he spent his last season. We've been training for more than a year, and for more than a year, probably a year and a half. But in his last season of playing for his school, he's in high school. He played pretty much doubles. He didn't play singles. And the truth is that what we have been training, it's it's more focusing on becoming a good singles player. So when he finished his season playing doubles, I asked him. I say, "Why are you playing doubles? Why did you? I mean, are you playing doubles because your coach is, he has you to play doubles because he wanted you to play doubles? I thought that he was probably um, one of the best teams in his school. Him and his partner as one of the best doubles teams in the school. Um, but he told me that he was playing doubles. He didn't want to play singles because at the beginning of the season, he didn't feel like he was in a place, or he was not convinced that he was good enough to make it to the finals of you know at the end of the season in singles. Pretty much saying, I don't know if I'm good enough in singles to compete with the best players out there. And I was taken aback a little bit, and I had to, of course, I had to talk to him because the fact that he was, the fear of not being good enough, his fear of not being good enough was an emotional conflict, coming from a problem. Let's say the problem. Okay, why you playing? Why you not playing singles? When we have a conflict, when we have an obstacle, many times we give up, or we don't give 100% because there are two problems, two conflicts for every problem. The practical conflict, which is the real solution, which is like saying, okay, you know what, you're focusing on the real solution of the problem. If you have the problem that, for example, in his case, was not being sure that he was going to be good enough to compete with the best, well, that's the practical conflict, is working harder, spending more time on the court training, focusing on getting better as a tennis player, becoming faster, improving his serve, improving his volley, improving his ground strokes, changing his mentality. Those are the practical solution. That's a practical conflict. The emotional conflict is it's what kept him from moving towards that target. The emotional conflict of, I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I'm entitled to it. I don't believe that I belong there. I don't know if I'm good looking enough to be a model. I don't know if I am fast enough to be a basketball player. I don't know if I am creative enough to be an architect or an artist. I don't know if I can develop my voice better to become a singer. The emotional conflict of a problem is all those things that we have in our minds that stop us from moving forward. Is not a real problem, but it's something that we just fear, based on something that, not that it doesn't exist, because it exists, but it's not practical. It's just something that you say, okay, you know what, many times or you want to do something, and you don't do it because you're afraid of what people will say about you. Sometimes we don't take action because we don't want to show people, okay, you know what, I want to do. It turns out that I want to become a pianist or a singer, and you're afraid that people are gonna be like, since when are you a singer? I mean, since when you think you have the voice to sing, or since when do you think that because you're a tall guy you can become a basketball player, or since when do you think that because you're probably dressing better and becoming a better person, you think that ex girl is gonna lay eyes on you? Whatever it is, I always say the biggest fear that stop us from doing a lot of things in life It is the fear of society, the fear of being criticized, the fear of the gossiping, the fear of other people, the fear of people talking about you. That's an emotional fear. That's an emotional conflict. That is not a practical conflict. That is not a conflict that really works on the solution, on moving, on spending hours on studying, or spending hours on training, or whatever you need to do that that is going to get you better at what you want. So that's one thing that you have to pay attention to. That's one thing that you really, when on anything that you do in life, just take a moment and think, okay, if I have not become better at this, if I have not started working in this project, if I have not become the person that I want to be, how come I can close my eyes and see myself being that person? How come I can imagine myself being that person, but when it comes down to take action, I don't do it? You have to know, you have to pay attention. If it's a practical conflict, if it's something that really limits you and you cannot take action, probably you say, I live in a small town and I want to become an architect, and the truth is that there are not good schools here to become an architect. Or you're probably an architect and you say, you know what, I need a PhD, but the truth is in my town there is no place there. I don't like, there are no schools, or any of the schools is good enough to have a PhD, you know. So that's a real problem to the practical conflict. But when you're saying, you know what, I want to be better, but I don't know if I really can become better at that. I don't know if I deserve it. I don't know if I'm entitled. I don't know if I have what it takes to become that person. Those emotional things, and many times what people will talk when a big part of the emotional problem is, what will they say? Who? I don't know. It could be your friends, it could be your parents, your brother, your sister, your girlfriend, your wife, the people that you know. I don't know. But many times we fear what someone will say about it. Sometimes it's several someones. And sometimes the worst thing is that many times we have an emotional conflict because we are worried about what people that we don't know will say about us. When it's people that we don't know, people that don't know about the topic that we're related, that we want to work on many times, and it's people that they're pretty much average. There's people that they're standing in a place in life where you don't want to be. You know, so you're giving it so much importance to those people, and many times you don't even know them. You're just worried about society in general. What are they gonna say about you? What if I fail? So what? The truth is that I have never heard of anybody that died because of gossiping, of people talking about him. But when it comes down to really going after your goals, you have to learn to say, I don't give a rat's ass about society, and I don't really care what people say about me. Just remember, we all, each and every one of us, we all have at least one person out there that doesn't like us, and we don't know about that person, and we don't care. We don't care about it because we don't know. It really doesn't affect us at all. But the moment we know, oh, this person didn't like you. Did you know that? And you're like, oh, really? And some people can spend hours and days and weeks, and they see that person, you know, in 4 months, they're like, oh, but how come you didn't like me? Just forget about it. But why? The moment they know about it, they freak out and they make it huge. When you didn't know, that person, that I can tell you right now, there is someone I date that doesn't like you, and doesn't affect you at all because you don't know about it. So if you find out about it, just have the same attitude. Oh yeah, well, too bad. That person doesn't like me. Well, you know, it's their loss. They don't know me or whatever. I don't care, you know. So be careful. Emotional conflicts, practical conflicts. Practical conflicts are real. Take care of those. Emotional conflicts, you make those. You create those. Okay? Alright guys, I hope it helps. I didn't want to make this long, but I had to be clear about everything here. I'll see you next time.